And we're live on No Shites Givin on our new schedule, Sundays at 7 p.m. I have Sarah here with me as usual.
Hi, friend.
Hi, Sarah. And so we got a pretty interesting show. Oops, let me fix that real quick. Have an interesting show, a very emotional show. So first off, if you haven't heard yet, we've had a pretty horrible thing happen last night where 50 people in Florida were killed at a nightclub by what they're identifying right now as a terrorist. The gunman who entered a nightclub last night, and it was a gay nightclub in Orlando, killed 50 people. He was on the FBI list, wanted, or not wanted list, but watch list. He was interviewed in 2013, 2014, and was determined to be a threat. And he actually, Omar Mantine, he actually called 911 during the attack in Boston when we had the marathon bombing, and mentioned to U.S. officials that he was pledging allegiance to ISIS. So we already knew this guy was a bad guy, and somehow he ended up fulfilling his promise, essentially. So, very evil person. We still have 53 people at least wounded, still in hospitals in Orlando, and my heart and prayers go out to the families.
Yeah, man, I don't know how this happened, dude, for real. I mean, I do know how this happened. We have, like, probably hundreds, if maybe even thousands, I don't know, of terrorist threats all the time that people don't go through with. They just want attention or whatever. So I think it's not really super surprising, honestly, that this one got away.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, like you said, the list is so big, and I just feel that, though, there has to be a way to narrow it down. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a, law enforcement officer or in law enforcement at all, so I wouldn't know, or an investigator. I just feel that there has to be some way to narrow it down and kind of prevent these things.
Well,
But
I mean, he did a little bit because he ended up being on their watch list. But I mean, sometimes you don't know when they're actually going to strike. Like if you don't have like actual like hard evidence that something's going to happen, it's hard to know when to kind of like swoop in, sorts.
Yeah, but I mean, we've all heard the stories of people Googling like how to build a bomb, and the FBI is bam right on there, like banging in people's doors, or people talking over the phone and might say something along the lines of some sort of threat, and boom, the FBI is kicking into your door, into your house, or something that you might have said offhand and it didn't really mean anything, and the FBI is there, or the CIA is there, or law enforcement's there.
I just don't think that that's very common. But I mean, then again, we don't know why they were monitoring him or what he had said in the past that put him on that watch list. We can't really be sure because if he just said some shit like fuck America, whatever, free speech, So it's kind of like hard to tell exactly, you know, where the line is with, each particular case just because, I mean, how can you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I just like I said, it's a very emotional week, and I think I mentioned it to you earlier before the show. Like, it's been a crazy week and
Yeah, it really
a
has.
very emotional one. Like, it's hard not to get pissed off at the world right now. All these horrible things that are happening, which moves to the next topic. And again, I just want to make sure that and I'm pretty sure Sarah feels the same way. Our hearts and prayers and sympathies go out to the families of those affected by that attack. Um, and it's been a very emotional week. So we had also the situation in Stanton of a rapist who only got sentenced 6 months in prison. This horrible, horrible person, his name is Brock Turner, who is going to Stanton, a student in Stanton, was on there, from my understanding, in a under a scholarship for swimming.
Yep.
Plus, he comes from a very wealthy family, um, and he raped, took advantage of a young lady, and just did the most horrible thing that I feel that you can do to a person, and is practically getting away with it. And we all know, at least I know, or I feel that I know, that he is getting away with it because of his status in society. And it's completely unfair.
Well, I think it's worth noting as well that it's not just 6 months in jail. It's 3 months on good behavior, seeing as it's his first offense. So apparently, if it's your first offense, you can murder somebody and just, a little slap on the wrist and go. Apparently, I don't know what that's about, but whatever.
Unless you're not from that high class, though.
Well, the thing is, the judge was also from Stanford and was also an athlete. I don't remember. He had like it was like some stupid ass sport. I don't know, like lacrosse or something.
Probably. One of those rich people
It was
sports.
yeah, it was a rich people sport for sure. I was just like, really? Like that's the sport? Like just whenever I heard like swimming, I'm like, swimming, really? Like that's the sport? Okay, sure. We're gonna care about swimming. Whatever. I love swimming. Don't get me wrong. It takes a lot of athleticism, whatever. But just, I mean, it's not even like televised until you get to like the Olympics.
The Olympics, yeah.
But
But
either way,
apparently people
out of
in
the
Stanton
sport.
care about their swimming and their lacrosse. So,
But I mean, it says something that they're from the same school, and it's kind of okay. Both high class, same school. Yeah, maybe a little bit of favoritism for the alma mater or whatever. But not that he's gonna, not that's gonna be his alma mater anymore. But I mean, at least he's a registered sex offender. It's gonna be hard for him to get a job forever.
you would
Kind
maybe.
of
I
look
mean,
on the bright
again,
side, unless if like his dad hires him or something.
exactly. I
But
was gonna say, he wouldn't really be that hurting that bad. He's wealthy. His parents are wealthy.
yeah,
He'll be able to get away with a lot.
well, his
This,
reputation will be ruined at the very least, and it's not like probation.
yeah, but
I'm
think
trying to look on
about
the bright
the.
side. I'm trying to look on the bright side. At least he got caught.
I guess. I mean, it's just
Well, I
for
mean, think of
me.
the probably millions of men and women who do this to men and women and just totally get away
Mhm.
with it, and nobody ever finds out, whether it be because they're afraid to report or, I mean, it just doesn't ever go anywhere, because some people report and then the family
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
everybody gets mad at them or whatever. So at the very least, we know who he is, and he's held accountable to a point, to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I just feel my biggest gripe with it, other than really feel for this girl. We've seen the videos and the televised media where they have her letter to him. As a matter of fact, it's very long.
Well,
Um,
that was only part one, my friend.
I know, and it's gut wrenching. I mean, it's horrible.
That
But
is.
what I found the most horrible about it all is what the dad wrote to the judge. And it really, I guess, in my opinion, really, you know, explains a lot about this kid. Um, and let me read it. I'll read it out loud.
Yeah, please, I haven't read.
His dad writes to the judge, Brock's life has been deeply altered forever by the events of January 17th and 18th. He will never be happy-go-lucky self with that easygoing personality and welcoming smile. Now he barely consumes any food and eats only to exist. These verdicts have broken and shattered him and our family in so many ways. His life will never be the one that he dreamed about and worked so hard to achieve. That is a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action out of his 20-plus years of life. How does that not piss you off?
I don't think there's anyone that's not pissed off by that. I wanna throw that out there, except for him. I had heard certain excerpts of that, but wow, that's impressive. That's really impressive.
I mean, what person in their right mind thinks that what he got is a steep price for 20 minutes of action? The fact that his dad thinks that all this was 20 minutes of action, has no empathy or sympathy for, or like appreciates the gravity of what his son did,
Well,
is
20 minutes of action for him is a lifetime of pain and suffering for her because
exact.
it's not just him who had to go through this ordeal of a trial. She had to go through being raped, and as well as that, she had to go through reliving it over and over and over again, not even remembering it, being drilled with questions, her promiscuity questioned, her clothes, her lifestyle, what she ate even. And he's the one who's so deeply affected. Oh, I'm so sorry, baby boy. What
Right?
can
He
we do to
doesn't
make
eat the
it
things
more
that he
cushy for
likes,
you?
right?
He's not really eating very much anymore. Like, what the fuck is this kid, like 8 years old? Like, what? He's a grown boy. Like, no, he can get the fuck over it because I guarantee you she's not sitting there all happy at the fucking carnival eating funnel cakes, you know?
Right?
That's
It
wildly
blows my mind, and it really shows what um, what this kid's like perspective is, just based off of what his dad's perspective is.
yeah,
And I mean, again, I might not know a lot about law enforcement, and I don't have any investigative, you know, um,
history.
knowledge or history. I do have a very, well, not a very, but a decent amount of psychological um, experience, and you can totally tell by this letter that this family, or at least his dad, I mean, I don't know about his mom, I can't speak for her, but at least his dad, you can tell that they definitely have a certain level of lack of empathy for anybody else but themselves,
Oh, yeah, for sure. Has
and
deeply affected him. That burns.
I know,
Burns in the.
and again, I have to mention the how corrupt and how one-sided our justice system is in this country. I mean, we want to believe that, you know, it's very just. We get, people are innocent until proven guilty, and that, everybody is judged by, by the evidence only and whatnot. But we all know that the justice system is made strictly in the benefit of the powerful and the rich.
Well, it's true if you look at like the whole system of bailing out people. I mean, the rich people immediately bail themselves out and they're out of jail, whereas the poor people stay in, which
Exactly.
costs the state money. So don't see how that makes sense, but whatever.
It really, I know for me and I know for you, Sarah, it's really frustrating and very very emotional news. And um, I really hope that guy gets karma. I really hope that he gets somehow what's coming to him,
Well, I mean, he
one
may
way or another.
He may never, because it's a sad, sad fact that here in America and probably most countries around the world, that a lot of times when this happens, they don't have adequate evidence to convict anybody. And even
True.
when they do, sometimes things like that, I mean, he just gets off. So, and I think a lot of times systems are very lenient on not just the rich, but white people and men. And I mean, certain systems are just as easy on women as they are on men, but
I was gonna say.
definitely race plays a factor in that,
Well,
I
and
think.
that's the thing, exactly. And
And
not only race, because my opinion about that. I really, personally, whoops, um, personally, I have a really hard time trying to think about the racial part of things. But I mean, if you look at it, yeah, to an extent, if it was, I hate saying this, I really do. If it was a black person in there, yes, I think he would probably have gotten a lot worse.
I
Just
definitely think
for
so.
being, but I don't necessarily, I don't want to believe. Let's say that I don't want to believe because it's a race thing more than it's a
Privilege, class
yes.
thing.
I
Yeah.
mean, if
No,
you
no,
look
I
at
definitely agree with that. 100%. I think those are the two main factors, because where I get that from is even, these high profile black athletes have gotten in trouble and gone to jail for shit.
right,
Michael Vick, for example. But this kid, nobody fucking knows this kid, and he's just some rich ass white kid who swims, and
exactly,
he gets off, and it just kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because high profile athlete, higher than him, probably has more money than him, more prestige and all that. Of course, sometimes maybe they feel the need to make an example out of people who think that they're better than other
hmm
people, but I think that that rate is a lot higher in black people, because they still see them as hood or what the
right.
fuck ever,
And I
because
think
of
that's the
how they
main
were
thing that we
raised
need to
or
look.
television and all of this
Exactly, it's a
madness.
stereotype that you
Yeah,
know, and they put him in this lower class, partially yes because of race, but I think it's not so much a race thing; it's a class thing.
it
I
is
mean,
a
we look at
as well.
if we look at like the Steve Avery case, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me, because that was a very divided, deal where a lot of people thought that he is guilty, and just the same amount of people think that he's not.
Yeah,
And I'm probably on the half that doesn't think that he's guilty, and I believe that it was a class thing. The fact that the Avery family to everybody else in that county were these hillbillies, low educated,
yeah,
are not worth anything to society. and that was the image that they
Well,
got, and it's a
part of that was a
automatic.
little different, though.
What's that?
Part of that was also that I'm not saying I don't really know because I have read other articles and stuff that say some things were left out of that documentary, but part of that was that police departments need to feel justified in locking him up in the first place. So if they caught
Right.
him doing something bad, second time around, they're like, oh no, no, see, look, we were right, you know.
Hmm.
So it would basically make them look better again. So I think that that also is involved with
Oh,
especially the
absolutely.
case. The first case, totally different story, but the second case against him, I think, was definitely like partially a pride thing on their part, but
Right.
that's a whole different thing. I think, the
Definitely.
important thing is we we need to start teaching people what consent looks like because a lot of these men honestly think that it's okay to rape women because they're asleep. Oh, she won't mind, or I don't know, any number of other weird, weird things. If you ever watched the tea consent video, have you seen that?
Yes, I have, and I think that's a perfect example.
Perfect. I just think that we have this weird sense of like, I don't know, well, she wanted it. She was dressed in a skirt. She was dancing with me. She was acting flirty. She was making out with me. Like, this was gonna happen anyways. So,
Right.
and it's just kind of like, no, no, honey, that's not how it works. You raped her, but, whatever. But I think it's funny that he tried to deny all of that when he ran away, when he was confronted
Right.
for grinding up against, like thrusting himself upon, I believe is the term that they used, thrusting himself upon an unconscious woman. At that point, you have to know that it's not okay. But
Right.
his
Well,
thought
there's
process is, well, she's never gonna find out. Nobody's ever gonna know. She might be a little beat up,
exactly.
but fuck it, whatever. I can do what I want because nobody's gonna know. And then they found him and he ran. And then he tried to say, oh no, I didn't do it. So I think in this particular case, there's no question as to whether he knew he was doing something wrong or not. He did because he ran.
Right.
If
Well, that's exactly, and you know, again, the character of this guy. I mean, he lied to the police when he was interrogated about his history with drinking, violence, um, and actually had a past criminal history as well. He lied about it all, and thinking that he would just get away with it even then,
Yeah,
you know? And it speaks for his character of what kind of person he is.
it speaks
Um,
towards his privilege and the way he was raised.
exactly. Um, on top of that, like you said, definitely I think the public is not educated in what is consent. Um, I've again, I have a little bit of a background with psychology, and I've read several like different um, experiments, social experiments, and you know, and different cases where people have this mentality that, like you said, if it, I think it's a two part. I think it's a part where, okay, if the person doesn't really know, it doesn't hurt mentality, and there's the other part where, well, it doesn't really affect me, you know. So, and then there's also a lot of you have to look into a lot of other things like history. Where do these people get this idea of what's okay to do to another person?
I
Um,
think it's more a lack of them being taught what's not okay. Because you see this kind
exactly.
of rape and this kind of assault happen between all different kinds of classes. This happens
Hmm.
all the way down. So I think it's more just that they're not really being taught. I mean, they're obviously taught that like your stereotypical rape isn't okay, like chasing after a woman with a knife, and she's screaming and you're just raping her like that. They know that that's not right. So
Right.
that one doesn't happen very often, really, in comparison. But these other ones where they're just, totally incapacitated, drunk, and, passed out, or, they sort of kind of acted like they wanted to before, and then they just were too drunk to, that weird hazy gray area.
Right.
Or, you started and then all of a sudden they froze up and they're kind of like, well, they weren't really taught that, fight, flight, or freeze. And that's something that I am very adamant about talking to people about is the fight, flight, or freeze, because the freeze is the one that people really forget about. And
Right.
I think it's very important if you notice that someone has frozen when you're about to have sex with them, don't have sex with them. Don't
Right.
pressure somebody into having sex. Don't take off their clothes if they're not moving and they look awkward and scared, or they just stopped
I mean, and
participating. That's not consensual sex. That is
exactly.
then categorized as rape because they were not a willing participant. And that's something that you have to be aware of and you have to watch for. And if we don't teach people that, they're not going to know that.
Right. Exactly. Um, tell us what you think. Our number is 619 816. I had to look at it. 2309. Call us. Tell us what you think. At any point, we will move on with the show. But if you want to call in, tell us what you think, how you feel. Please do. The other thing is, so I went to the county fair this past weekend, and I've crossed a few people, really cool people. Hopefully, they are watching, and if you are, um, I'm inviting you to call into the show. Let me know what I handed to you, and the first person that calls and tells me what I handed to them will win a $20 gift card to Amazon.
Why don't I ever get to win the gift cards? What is that about?
Um,
Can I call and get it,
no.
Aw.
We'll have to figure something out for you, Sarah. We'll
Oh,
figure.
okay.
I'll give you a
I
Christmas
keep
bonus or
talking to him
something.
and he never wants to give me anything. Like, what is that about? My
We'll think about
birthday's
a
coming
Christmas.
up. Don't forget it.
Oh, that is true. That's
Next
true.
month.
And the only way I know that is through Facebook. So, speaking of Facebook, so Sarah had a pretty long rant on Facebook,
Oh, I did.
uh,
I did. I'm gonna need a
which
bigger
was
wine glass.
it was pretty funny. I'm gonna go ahead and share that real quick. Um, let me pull it up here in a second. Okay, here we go. So, did I put it up? I don't know. Oh yeah, I did. Okay.
No.
So Sarah writes, I just got legitimately really mad when someone asked me what my favorite movie was. The guy next to him uh, replied for me before I had the chance to answer. She looks like one of those Disney lovers.
Long
When
pause.
he long pause. When he saw that, immediately got when he saw that, I immediately got offended by his assumption, seeing as everyone who knows me knows that I have absolutely zero knowledge of almost all Disney movies. He said that it was because I'm a baby. Another long pause. I'm 23, and just because I'm small female and I look young does not mean that I do not have my own identity or that you can just project a whole personality into me 5 minutes after meeting me. Don't ever assume shit about me based off of my looks unless you want me to be a total bitch to you for the remainder of the time we know each other. Now, I should have probably warned the public of her colorful language,
It gets worse
but
than that usually. I'm trying to be nice on Facebook. I meant to say onto me, but I guess somebody projected something into me. But Uh,
So
yeah.
you
Oh,
really got mad about
I
this.
got really mad. I got really mad. I am not a fan of what I see as sexism, and that to me seemed like some pretty blatant sexism. I get really mad because everything I do in my life is like I'm not a typical female, you know? I can be just like anybody else. Like I don't have to be just a girl. And so I got very, very offended whenever he was like, well, you just look like one of those Disney lovers. You're just a baby. And I was like, I'm not a baby. I'm about to turn 24. And I'm 23 and a half. And, oh, that may not have helped. But,
That was perfect.
no,
I like some of the comments in there. I can't really show them because I don't want to break anybody's privacy. Let me see if I can. So somebody sent you a little meme there. Let me pull that up. Hiding the person with all those Disney characters that
yeah.
allegedly you own.
No, I don't. Those are not mine. I think the
So
only Disney movie that I was like really into as a kid was like Mulan because Mulan's a fucking badass, homie. Mulan is the best. And other than that, I think I watched Anastasia once, and then like my tape did that thing that VCR tapes did, where they just like you
oh
take them
yeah,
out
where
and
they
they're
just
like flying everywhere. Um, so yeah, I only saw that one like once until later on. I watched it again like I don't know a year ago. But no, I got really upset because I would like just once to be assumed to be a normal blank slate human being when people meet me instead of okay, she's 5'1", she looks like a fucking 15-year-old and has a little squeaky mouse voice and it just looks like a little sweet little baby thing, blonde, you know.
right.
Well, okay, I'm a human being. I play with guns for a living. I like to watch comedy movies. Like that's like my favorite genre is comedy. Like give me some raunchy ass comedy any day, and I'll take it. Seth Rogen's my favorite. He's adorable. I like my little Star Wars memorabilia.
Hey, that's Disney.
Come on
That's
now.
Disney now.
Okay, now it is, but it wasn't before. You eat my Pez. I'm a big kid.
All right, so if you have an opinion about Sarah's obsession over Disney, as she
Oh.
does not have, call us at 619-816-2309. Um, definitely worth bringing up that post. Pretty good.
That's sexist.
I just thought it was funny that you got that upset over
I
it. Like, and you never knew this guy before, like
No,
5 minutes
I
before,
met him that day. I met him right then. That was the first conversation I ever had with him. I had never spoken to him before that.
and
She
you
was like
totally
one of those
ruined it.
Disney lovers. I was like, so now every time I see him, I'm so rude.
Really? Do you see him that often?
Yes, I work with him. He's like, around.
That's so funny. All right. So again, a lot of news happened this week. Kimbo Slice died, and that was really sad because I grew up watching his YouTube videos before he became really big and got a deal with in MMA, and he is just, in my opinion, I mean, I
So,
wouldn't call him a hero, but definitely somebody that I kind of admired in a weird way. And I mean, the very first video that I ever seen him fight in was one of his YouTube videos, and I remember one of my friends showed it to me for the first time. He's like, "You gotta see this guy. He like punched this guy so hard that he knocked his eye out of his eye socket." And that was the first video I ever seen. I cannot play it on here, but I do have a video of Kimbo Slice, kind of a little memorial, I guess, for him on our part. Somebody made this video, and I thought it was pretty cool, so I wanted to share it. Oh, it's already playing. I think. Hold up. I don't know if I can get it. Okay. So I'll pull it up. It has no sound, but we can talk over it. Kimbo was awesome, in my opinion. There has been um, games made out of with him in it. He was an actor. He there was toys, action figures made from him. He made it big off of YouTube, out of all things, before YouTube was even big. And
You know, he was also a father of 6.
yes, good point.
Father of 6. And he apparently was a really humble guy, a really good
Yes,
father. So I don't know. And on top of that, like, look at him. Look at that guy.
I
God,
know.
what more could you want in a man? Look at that.
Well, I wouldn't know, but apparently, according to
Oh,
Sarah, something that you would want in a guy, gold teeth and
yeah,
all.
yeah, I'll
Um,
take him. I'll take him. I mean, I'll sell the gold teeth, but other
he,
than
he
that,
he will definitely be missed. I mean, he didn't make it too big in the MMA as he did in YouTube. He wasn't. He did have a really hard time um, in the MMA, but he did have some really good knockouts. Um,
he had a
and
couple
like
pretty good fights, actually.
yes,
He
a
had a
couple
couple.
of them are really
One of
good.
them lasted like 15 seconds.
Yes. And I think the thing with that was he's just not used to the ring type of fighting. Um, he was a
Yeah,
street fighter at first,
yeah,
and the rules are a lot different in street fighting. And even the layout and the setup and you know the mobility that you have, in an open space is really different with all your peripherals when you're fighting inside a ring, or a octagon or wherever you're fighting. Um,
well, many of the people that he fought, definitely not all of them, but many of them didn't really have a lot of formal training in fighting. Now, a lot of them did have plenty of experience, but I think he's more of a street fighter.
yeah.
And but the whole time he always stayed humble. He was always like
Yes.
a good sportsman. I think I don't
He
know.
was
It's not
really.
about those other kinds of like. I mean, he was famous enough without it.
Yes. I think it was his agent or manager that wrote a comment on Twitter, and it was actually it really spoke volumes and what kind of person he was. He identified him as a gentle giant, a very caring person, a very humble person, would just light up the room whenever he was around, and he will definitely be missed. So um, I, I will definitely, I would have liked to see a lot more fights out of him, but
Yeah. Well, we've got
so
all the YouTube videos. Just
I
relive
know
the
there's a lot
glory.
of them. Like after I heard he died, and somebody told me that they did not know who Kimball Slice was. One, that was offensive to me. Like, how do you not know who Kimball
What's
Slice
wrong
is?
with
Like,
you?
what rock did you,
Such
crawl
a
out of?
beautiful man.
Right? I don't know about that, but and I immediately went to YouTube and Googled Kimball Slice, and it's just video after video of street fighting, and it was beautiful. And
He definitely let him know. He let him know.
yeah, yeah. So I want to speak about a WTF moment here. Um, and I'm going to play a trailer
Oh
of a
no.
movie I know, and this is I could not believe this was a movie. And Sarah like introduced this to me, by the way. Miss don't like Disney movies, and this is not a Disney movie, not that I know of.
I hate them.
Would
I'm not
wouldn't
obsessed
shock
with them.
me if it was though a Disney movie, but this I'm just I was like, what the heck is this? You know,
I'm still confused, to be honest. Not a,
right? Like
all the trailers in the world could not make me understand this thing.
Like it really, I want to go watch it for the sole purpose of just figuring out what the fuck.
I
I'm sorry,
know.
excuse my language.
I
What the fuck?
know. That's
It's
what
like
I was like, ew, I don't want to see this. What's happened to you, Daniel?
I know, right? So, and I love the posts that you sent me that was written by somebody else too. Uh, I really like that. That was funny. So let me change
Oh
this
my
over to you guys. We'll watch the video and we'll go from there. So that way everybody knows what we're talking about.
Hey! You just have to remember that we're all here for a purpose. In the universe picks its time. I need you to help me get home. Okay, buddy? Okay, buddy. You're a miracle. Or I'm just hallucinating from starvation. You're special. You're special. There's 7 billion people on the planet. You might be lucky enough to bump into the one person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Oh my God. So this is the life I've forgotten. This is just the beginning.
I will never
Like,
not be confused and grossed out by that.
no, like I know, just who, like you said, I don't think there's any amount of trailers that could explain what the fuck is going on in that movie. Magical farts, freaking.
I think the dude's just crazy, man. I think that's the point. Like he's
Well,
just lost
yeah, I
his
mean,
mind.
I kind of figured that, but oh my gosh, like
But you
really,
know what? One thing I do commend this on is its originality because I have gotten so tired of the cookie cutter movie. Like, oh, so and so went to a new school. They're bullied. What's gonna happen? They find love, or like whatever. It's always the same story. And it's reminiscent of like an indie film, but has the budget and the actors of um, a feature like I don't know, big time film. So it's weird that something so weird is getting such attention. I like it, but I don't like it because it's creeping me the fuck out.
right? Like, come on.
Like I'm scared. I'm creeped out, and I feel like if I watch it, I'm gonna have scary ass dreams about it for like a month, and I'm gonna
I
be
know,
ruined for life. But congratulations, Harry fucking Potter.
right? All right, so
Look
that
what you've become.
I know I can't get over it. I'm lost for words for that movie. Tell us what you think. 619-816-2309, or comment on the comments below. Comment on Facebook. Comment on Twitter, and
Your
tell us what
sign
you think about
off.
that movie.
Where'd your
What's
sign
that?
go? Your sign disappeared.
My sign disappeared?
Yeah, you know, I was
Oh,
actually really sad
well,
that you got that sign because I ripped my I ripped my whiteboard off the wall and it ripped 4 big pieces of paint off because it was stuck on so hard with like this sticky tape shit and I was like, "Oh, so I just ruined my wall for
this
no
is totally ghetto, but whatever. Yeah. You know what? I don't know. So I know what happened to my. Speaking of, I know what happened to my whiteboard. I at first thought, who would steal a whiteboard, right? Because it was on my wall. And I was thinking, I was like, where's my whiteboard? Who would steal a whiteboard,
reason."
right? At what point did they come into my apartment and take the whiteboard,
That's all they took.
right?
You've
No.
been robbed.
And my whiteboard was really well put on there. Like, it could not have just fallen off, right? At least I thought. It's behind my desk, and I tell you why. This is the reason why California is only my second favorite state.
Oh no.
Freaking earthquakes.
Freaking earthquake.
All right? My girlfriend calls me in the middle of the night and says, "Do you feel that?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, passed the hell out. I guess like there had to have been two. The news always says there was one, but I felt like there had to have been two.
Everybody was talking about it. I don't know. I missed it. I slept through it. I always miss all the cool
I
shit.
know. I slept apparently through the first part of it. I didn't even realize it, right? After she calls me, she tells me, "Dude, didn't you feel that?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You didn't feel the trembling?" I'm like, "It must have been just a little earthquake, right?" She's like, "Okay, just go back to sleep. You're obviously out." And I was like, "Yeah." So I hang up, and then I start hearing noises, right? Like, it sounded like there was pounding on the wall. And I was like, "What the hell are my neighbors doing?" And I was getting mad because it was keeping me up. And I thought it was like 10 minutes. Apparently, it was only like 3 minutes. And I was going to get up, mad, go pound on my neighbor's door and say, shut the hell up. Right at the moment that I sit up from bed, all of a sudden my entire apartment like felt like it was like somebody was like pounding on every single wall, ceiling, floor. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Right? And it
How
was
did
an
I sleep
earthquake.
through this? I'm so upset. So, like 3 years ago, I slept through an earthquake here too, and apparently I just did again, and I'm so upset about it. Everybody was talking about it on Facebook. Oh my God, the earthquake! And since I was a little kid, I thought earthquakes sounded awesome. I moved to California, the land
They're
of the
not.
earthquakes, and I still haven't gone to feel one. Like, what is this
Here's the
about?
thing
Like,
with
tornadoes
earthquakes,
are so
okay?
uncool.
Yeah, they are. Earthquakes, here's the thing with earthquakes, okay? They nothing really happens until like you get the good one, right? But every small one though is just one step closer to the inevitable big one that's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Like when the whole world explodes, pretty much.
oh, I don't know about that. I mean, look at like all the earthquakes that are like in Thailand or in
No, I mean
in
like when like that that one cataclysmic event happens and like Yellowstone just fucking blows up.
I know that's going to happen any day. It's not a matter of if, it's
Yeah,
when.
we don't know. And I'm scared.
Yep.
Speaking of being scared, how about that Democratic nomination though?
Yes. So it's not official. Okay, that's my understanding. It's not like official.
It's pretty
Technically, but it's pretty much official. Technically, Bernie Sanders is not out of running um, until the Democratic convention, which happens July 25th to the 28th, and then that's
yeah.
when they'll announce. The thing is, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I have some statistics up, which we don't really need it. I'm pretty sure everybody knows. But I'll bring it up anyways. Stop. Well, I guess I didn't have it. No, I do have it. Okay. So here it goes. So we have basically Clinton is at 51.6% of the polls release. Sanders is at 40.2, which doesn't really mean much, right? All that says to us is that people, for whatever weird reason, think that Hillary will make a great president.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that Hillary will make a great president, but I think she may have been the most practical choice, in my opinion. I don't want to go too far into politics because I don't want everybody to hate me after this, but I just think, Bernie Sanders is seems like a super good dude, but I just don't see a lot of realistic potential in his plans. I mean, he seems great, really likable, but that's not what necessarily makes a good president,
Right. Well, I mean, I didn't really like the guy either, but as you already know, and as I mentioned before, I'm more of a independent, more libertarian type.
He has the option of running as a third party still, which is possible. Unlikely that he'll go anywhere. I think at best all he would do is divide the party and allow for Trump to win, and I don't think that that is what he wants. So I think
No, he actually stated that he wasn't going to do that, and that he was.
I think most likely he will just back Hillary.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the president, Obama. He ended up endorsing her, which we all knew he would. But
Well, yeah. I think he was just waiting for the just in case.
Well, I think he was more waiting for. Well, I mean, yeah, he was waiting for a more solid, okay, this is going to be the Democratic nominee, because I think he was pretty much just going to endorse whoever, the Democratic nominee was, which, I mean, that was kind of obvious because he's a Democrat, and, I mean, he is the one who appointed Hillary to her current position anyways, so they've obviously been working together for quite a while, and they're cool, so that was going to happen anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see a world in which he wouldn't endorse the
Exactly.
Democratic nominee.
But then you look at the Republican side, and they're all just all over the place.
Oh God, everybody's divided with them, and for good reason. But
so definitely, like you said, it's kind of a scary thought, though, that Hillary could possibly, at least for me, anyways. I don't know about you. For me, it's a scary thought.
I looked into it, and because I don't think that you can really say, oh, I hate a person or whatever, if you haven't really looked into their policies and stuff. So I went and I looked extensively, well, not super extensively, but I looked into both Hillary and Trump's websites and their issues and stuff that they had listed. And Trump literally has 7 issues listed. And, number 1 being, make Mexico pay for the wall. And Hillary had 31. It just went on, And so I feel like at least she cares about the issues enough to acknowledge them, at the very least. So I think that, for me at least, it makes more sense.
So my question then for you is, if, let's say in an imaginary world, your endorsement meant anything, who would you endorse right now?
Hillary.
All right.
I mean, I thought that was a little obvious. But apparently my Facebook friends are confused as well because I said something about how cool it would be if, Hillary just picked a super good running mate, won, and then died. And she got really upset about that. I don't know what that was about. She was like, not voting for Hillary is a vote for Trump, something like that. And I was like,
you totally misunderstood me.
Yeah, but you totally misunderstood. And then I was like,
I was actually going to comment on that comment too, but
I said, if she picked him as her running mate, Bernie, I was like, she would be unstoppable, but then I would need her to stay alive to kind of keep her in line because calm down, Bernie. But
Yeah.
I think that might be a good match. I doubt that that's going to happen because that's not usually the norm. But
So
actually, no.
my endorsement for president, and I'm hearing my echo, which is not good, will be Gary Johnson, who's a libertarian.
Good
He's
luck
running
with
on the
that.
Libertarian Party. I know he's not, probably won't make it, but at least I can say that I actually voted for somebody that I personally believe in, and I believe in their policies.
Oh
And I
no, yeah,
really, I
that's so
really
cool.
wish that Americans would do that more, because they think this whole two-party system, and they just stick with that as like, oh well, it's not really only two parties that ever wins. But I really feel personally that Americans need to stop thinking that way. They need to start looking at who is actually out there that that's going to fight for me.
But
And I
people don't
think they
want to
would
put
be
that much thought into it.
surprised. No, they want, and again, we talked about this, Sarah, right before the show. It's sad, and I don't want to call anybody ignorant. I don't want to call anybody, you know, but in reality, people are set up in America to be ignorant
Well,
through
they are
media, through the powerful getting people dependent on things that don't matter.
yeah.
And what I'm talking about is, people getting dependent on the next iPhone, on the next tablet, on the next,
They,
on the next Galaxy phone, and people care more about that kind of stuff rather than what's going on and doing the actual research that they need to be doing that could actually better their lives. And I don't know, that's my rant.
yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you on that. I
So
think
tell
it's
us,
just the convenience, That's all people want is convenience.
yeah, tell us who you endorse, 619-816-2309, or comment below and on our Facebook page or Twitter. And we might talk about it on the next show. So moving on, I wanted to talk about worst inventions ever
Ooh,
made.
yeah. That's tough.
So I put up this PowerPoint, and I'll have it up here in a second. Let me see. Yep. We'll go to that. Present. There we go. So we got this one here. So this is the massage game controller.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
So I don't know about this one. So I read into it. It's basically so that way women that have boyfriends or husbands or significant others that are really into video games and want a little bit of attention as well, they would wear this vest, and it's a controller on the back, and basically as your obsessed gaming boyfriend is playing video games, he's actually giving you a massage as well. And I can imagine this going terribly wrong because I know how I get sometimes with video games. And there's times that I get violent with my remote controller. And can you imagine somebody getting mad because they got killed or whatever, and you just like start punching your girlfriend in the back? Then you have a domestic violence in your hands. So I can totally see this going wrong.
No, I have plenty of negative things to say about this. First off, if you got a dude who's too busy playing video games that he can't take a little bit of time out of his day to, like, I don't know, bond with you or talk to you or give you a massage or whatever, fuck that guy. Like, what the fuck? You gotta spend 100% of your day gaming, and well then, fucking fuck the game. That's what I'm saying, because you ain't getting shit from me in that case. And secondly, just another, just another thing that allows dudes to be less attentive to their women and assumes that women don't like to play video games, which is also false. I actually recently just read a statistic in one of my textbooks that said women play video games just as much as men do. Actually,
Oh yeah.
more so than teenage boys, which is what is assumed are the most avid of gamers, which is actually false because actually I think it said 37-year-old men were the highest consumers of video
Really?
games. So spent the most time.
Interesting. Our next one is the smokeless cigarettes. Okay, I'm not talking about vapes or anything like that. So this was invented back in the early 90s, right, to try to get people to quit smoking or at least inhale smoke, which brings in a lot of bad chemicals into your lungs, blah, 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 blah. And basically this thing, how it works is there's no smoke, it doesn't burn, you still inhale it, but it's not vape either. Basically, you're just inhaling chemicals, and it really didn't make much difference as far as versus smoke versus chemicals. And the other problem with it was that it tasted really bad. So
The point.
it tasted really, yeah, exactly. So here's the caveat to that, right? So they invented this thing to help with people try to quit smoking and whatever. It was unsuccessful for that, but it became very popular for the people that smoke crack, because apparently they were modifiable, where people were able to get crack in there and smoke crack, and it was perfect for smoking crack.
That's awesome! Worst technology ever. That's amazing. I love
Right?
it.
So this was a total failure at all ends. Obviously, they got, taken out, and you don't see them anymore.
Yeah, no.
The abs enhancer.
That's
Okay?
stupid.
This is probably the laziest invention. Well, the invention for lazy people, for the laziest of the laziest. And it's really kind of retarded. So basically, all it is, to me, is a grill,
I was
grater.
just about to say, when you get done with it, you can just slap it on the grill and start cooking.
Exactly.
But
And
that six pack.
exactly. So this thing, you put it on your abs, and if you're a little bit chubby or whatever, you get the imprint of six packs, and it feels like you have a six pack when you really don't, and it's doesn't last very long. Or you can wear it and keep it wearing and put a shirt on, and it kind of
There's no wind.
exactly, or that nobody, I don't know, notices that you don't have a six pack. Worst idea ever, again, and very stupid for the very lazy. Just go work out. And I really personally, I don't have a six pack. I don't really care about having a six pack. I am active in my own way, and I am very healthy in my own way, so I don't really care. But this is just retarded.
Is that a quote from Jeff? Is that what that says?
What?
It just said at the quote at the end, I couldn't believe how effective.
Oh, yeah, that's a quote from Jeff, yes.
Jeff who? Who the fuck is Jeff?
I know, right?
Is that real? I can't even.
I have no clue. Next worst idea. So this is a camera that looks like a gun.
Awful. Please do not ever try to take pictures or document your police with this.
Exactly. That was the exact thought I had. If you want to get shot by the police and get a good picture of it, this is the perfect tool right here.
Oh, no.
These actually were determined dangerous for sale, and it got not really outlawed, but it had really bad, reputation with Consumer Reports.
Who thought this would be a good idea? Shame.
I don't know.
For shame.
We're already having issues with gun control and police brutality and you name it, and this just makes things a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
The lazy sock helper.
So,
So,
is this for disabled people? Because in that case, okay, but
You would think, but no, it's for lazy people that just don't want to bend over all the way to put on their socks. You
oh,
set it up, you put your sock in there, like kind of just, I don't know, and
well,
you pull up your socks, and that way you don't have to bend over.
if you're pregnant, that's perfect.
Well, maybe, I don't
Or
know.
if you're like 800 pounds, you can have somebody else do it for
So
you.
let's
That's
enable
totally,
somebody to stay that way. I mean, I
yeah,
don't
that's
know,
what life's about.
right? The solar bikini. So
What the fuck does
this
that work for?
So this is a bikini with little solar panels, and you can hook up your iPhone, your telephone to it, or whatever, and get your nice suntan while you're charging your phone or uh,
Or you could just charge your
whatever.
phone before you go out.
Exactly.
Or
The
you could
problem,
$300 bikini and just it's ugly anyways and just buy an
it's
external
ugly,
charger and then everybody's happy.
and there were people that were getting third-degree burns because there was no insulin uh,
Inflation.
good enough to, yeah, to protect you from this.
That's
So
stupid.
another really bad idea. The emailer. So this I can kind of understand back in the day.
Was
So
it in the
basically,
80s?
this was made in the 90s, and it's basically was a telephone that had access to dial-up, and you can email people through your phone. It
It's like
probably was
text.
like the, yeah, it's
It's like
essentially,
a precursor to texting because you got to do
yeah.
the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's like S. Like
Yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of cool, I guess, for its day and age, but the problem is that they're still producing these. Uh, there's some that now are like touchscreen now and stuff like that, but who really has a landline anymore, really?
what the fuck is the purpose of that? Like, oh my god, I still have like terrible nightmares about like the dial-up tone.
Right? AOL,
Or
jeez.
like trying to use the phone while somebody was on the internet, like, Dylan, I'm trying to call my friend.
Or even worse, when you were like in the middle watching some stream and like somebody picked up the phone and kicked you off of it.
Well, I didn't use the internet that much back in the day, but I was on the phone all the time, though.
Yeah. The iTypewriter. Basically,
Why?
it's a typewriter. You put your iPad on there, and you can typewrite like you were typing a typewriter. I guess that's kind of cool, but not really
This is
practical.
like the ultimate hipster technology.
Exactly. And the thing that, I mean, I can get it if it would be kind of cool if it was Bluetooth and it didn't have that weird like touch um, stylus there that moved
Yeah,
around with it and stuff. It just seems very annoying to me. Um, no point to it at all, to be
yeah.
honest. Just
Yeah.
buy a Bluetooth
Well,
keyboard.
it kind of reminds me, a few years back, I thought I would be super cool and buy a cord phone handset for my cell phone.
I
So
saw those. Like, what the?
I loved it, dude. I would get so many weird looks anytime I got a phone call. I'd like pull out my like big phone and it had a cord going into my purse. It was awesome. But I think I used it like twice. I don't even know what happened to it. I probably lost it.
All right. The Pillow Talk.
Yes, yes, yes. This is mine.
So
Mine.
this one is annoying. Like, so basically, how it works is, say you have a long distance relationship with somebody, or which you do, Sarah, right?
Yes, I
Um,
do.
uh, and your boyfriend has one, and you have one, and basically, anytime you go, lay down and grab this pillow, they can hear your heartbeat, and the pillow lights up.
Oh,
Here's
it's
my thing with
the
that.
end of the heart.
Yeah, apparently you can hear their heartbeat. I would be annoyed, okay? If my girlfriend, like, I was like sleeping, I love my sleep to death. Like, when I'm sleeping, don't bother me. Like, I
Okay.
will wake up very grumpy. And she came wherever she was at and hug this pillow, and all of a sudden I hear her heartbeat and it's lighting up, I would be so pissed. Like, what are you doing?
So you guys both can battle insomnia together.
Right? Like, and what's funny is my girlfriend does have insomnia. Well, she doesn't have insomnia. She's a light sleeper. So, and this is the last one, and we kind of went way over our time, but that's okay.
Whatever.
The No Phone Zero. This was actually on Kickstarter, and it actually got quite a bit of money.
What is
So
it?
all it is a piece of wood painted black, and it's
Wow.
for and all it is for people that want to look cool, that don't have cell phones or a nice cell phone, and they can go around and act like they have a cell phone, and they'll like play with
Okay.
it, take selfies with it, but it's not doing anything, and
Um,
or so you can give it to people that are obsessed with phones to kind of like have an addiction for phones, and it kind of like pacifies it and gets them to not be so addicted
I
anymore.
don't think this would even work as like a pacifier. I think you have to give him like a child's phone or something to like click. Like there's not even any fucking buttons. Like what is this good for? I'm so confused. How about people who want to try to look cool by having a fake ass phone just like get the fuck over it or go buy a phone,
Well,
you
the
know?
last time I saw this Kickstarter, which was a while ago, so I don't know if he probably has a lot more now. He actually got over $50,000 to get
Probably just
this
because
product
it's
out,
funny, you know? I might back it just for humor reasons.
right?
Other than that, I cannot see any actual like purpose for this at all. At
So
all.
that's the end of our worst invention. If you know of another one, go ahead and comment, tweet it,
Twitterfy it.
or comment on our Facebook page. We are actually out of time,
We are.
but we'll be back Sunday at 7 Pacific Standard Time. Call in our next show, 619-816-2309. Or if you want to just leave a voicemail for the next show, let us know what you want us to talk about. But we'll be back next week. Yes, we will be back next week. We might not be live. I have a prior commitment, but I'll do my best to try to make it live. If not, we will still have a show on Sunday, regardless. And that's all I got. So everybody
Okay.
have a great night. Hopefully there's no more earthquakes.
Sorry
Or
about
maybe,
tomorrow being Monday. Ugh.
yes. Oof, tough. All right.
Ended on a
That's all
high
we...
note, though. Kind of.
That's all we got. Have a good night, and see you next week.
Bye, everybody.